I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, June the 23rd, brought to you in part by Noromycin by Norbrook. Noromycin 300 LA is your effective broad-spectrum antibiotic for treating seasonal diseases in beef cattle. You now need a script for Noromycin, just like you do all antibiotics, so don't get caught short on that. Be sure and get your script on file wherever you buy your animal health products. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Overdone, perhaps? Your futures market crashed on Wednesday, only to give a lot of it back on Thursday, but the damage is already done. Your cattle sellers, your fat cattle sellers, have lost their mojo. They've lost their market for this week, or lost the trend. Going to be down fairly hard this week, and the momentum, I mean, it's worse than a college football game. I mean, how you get things rolling. You know, the fundamentals haven't changed at all, basically, the past 2 or 3 months. But we see the Packers get a run and they run it down a little bit, and then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks ago, they get a little bit frantic and tip their hand earlier in the week, and then your cattle sellers kind of use what little leverage that they get, and they can bring it back, and then we see some all-time record high prices, but they just keep going back and forth and back and forth. And but this week the Packers absolutely won. I was reading Cassie Fish, which she publishes the Beef Read with help from Consolidated Beef Producers there. If you guys aren't reading that, you should. She does a good job, especially on the technical side of the cattle business there. But she was talking about how calm, cool, and collected these Packers have been through these really tight supplies. They have been so disciplined not to up their slaughter. You know, they got cold supplies in there, and they just haven't gotten too excited. They've got such a huge supply of formula cattle that they can dip into just about when they need them, and fill most of their needs. That it's just impressive how disciplined they have been, and not trying to ramp up the slaughter to fill more needs. But now all of a sudden this week, your box beef cutout values have plunged. They've lost so much of what they'd ran up there. They were just charging more because they were having to give more for the cattle, but they got resistance on that this week, and lost a lot of their box beef cutout values. But like I said before, the lion's share of their product is sold just about the way that the cattle are sold way out front, sold on a formula type deal. We never get to see the market on that stuff on your spot box beef cutout values report. So it's really hard to say what's going on, but you now see that we're in July, or going into July, and it's going to be rough, guys. It's going to be rough. And I love that term, bastard month. When we get into July, we don't really have a spot futures for live cattle. It's August, and August is trading so far back of what the market is right now, trading $8 and $9 back of the disappointing Southern Plains market, and $10 back of what we're almost $10 back of what the Northern Plains is. And they're going to jack with us, your cattle people, through July. They're going to be putting out all kinds of things about the holiday and the lighter kills and this and that, and it's going to be rough getting through July. And you cattle sellers, you fat cattle sellers, what few there are of you, we can fit all of you, especially in the Southern Plains, in a crew cab pickup. There's a lot more of you up in the Northern Plains. You guys stick together a little bit better. Most of you are at least on a group text. You're going to have to really play July smart as you possibly can, because they are going to try to take a lot of market position away from you through the month of July. But I'm going to shortchange you a little bit on today's feeder flash. I'm coming to you from Harrodsburg, Kentucky, fixing to go over here to the old production sale barn and give a talk to a pretty good group of people here for Superior Ag Insurance. I do want to tell you about, I told you here a few visits ago that late last week my friend Bryce Pruitt died. He was only 37 years old. He had a reaction to some medicine that they gave him, and he passed away. He had worked around the St. Joe Stockyards for many, many years when I was there. He'd went out and worked for Bob Foote at Hoxie at the feedlot there. And then in recent years he had come back and was working at the newly opened Maryville Livestock Auction, which is operated by Tommy Runyon and James Hutchins there. But you know, I've talked about many times, you've got a local auction market, a sale barn, and it is kind of the hub of the community. It's kind of what holds the community together. We're glad that they're back open in Maryville, Missouri there. But they had a rollover auction for Bryce's family. Got a young family there, 3 little kids. His wife's a nurse, real nice gal there. But you know, they're going to be struggling here without their patriarch there. And they had a rollover sale there, sold some donated items, raised over $41,000 for my friend Bryce Pruitt there. And I'll guarantee you, Bryce never saw $41,000 at once in his life, and his passing has brought that for his family. But it just makes you feel good when you see that. Had a lot of people there coming to watch that roll over and participate in it. It was during the regular sale at Maryville Livestock Auction, which they had a light summer run. But it's good to know that that sale barn, which hadn't been open that long, can still be the hub of the community there. Let's talk about your board on Thursday. June live cattle futures were up 40 cents, 177.65. Barely any basis at all now. August up 140 at 171.15. Your back months on live cattle were up 77 cents to up $1.82. Feeder cattle gained a bunch too, not nearly as much as it lost on Wednesday, but did bring back quite a bit. August feeder cattle up $2.95 at 230.67. September was up $3.10 at 234.52. Back months were all up big, 255 to 345. Maybe they overdid the rally, the scare tactic rally on the drought situation in the Eastern Corn Belt on Wednesday, because new crop December corn was down 8 cents on Thursday at 6.20 3/4. November new crop beans down 37.5 at 13.39.5. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for September up a half cent a bushels, all at 8.72.5. Fat cattle trade, we had some more significant trade that happened on Thursday. Basically the same market as what we've seen all week. Your live sales in the northern plains are about $3 lower. Your dress sales are about $7 to $8 lower. Southern plains market is $2 lower. But Iowa sold 5,900 head, 23,600 for the week. Live sales in Iowa on Thursday 182 to 186, and dress sales from 286 to 292. Nebraska 4,900 on Thursday, 12,300 for the week, 182 to 187.50, which is kind of a high for the week there. 187.50. Might have saw it 1 or 2 deals at 188, but that would be it. But still can get 187.50 for some cattle in the northern plains. And dress sales from 280 to still mostly all 290. Kansas sold a couple thousand on Thursday, 16,700 head for the week. Huge movement out of Kansas this week. Never see Kansas sell that many more than Nebraska. But live sales, mostly 180 in Kansas. They did have some quoted down at 176. They would have had to have been lower quality type cattle. Texas only a couple hundred head, and only 5,800 in Texas sold negotiated. Basically everybody in Texas got a sweetheart deal, but the few negotiated sales we saw in Texas were at 180, which was $2 lower. Box beef cutout values were kind of mixed after huge losses this week. Choice cuts 334.47, back up 22 cents. Selects down 45 at 303.80. And as of the afternoon report on Thursday, we had a huge choice select spread of over $30, which is quite a bit more than we typically see. Your slaughters running at a good pace this week, 503,000 up through the first 4 days of the week. That's 3,000 more than last week, 5,000 more than the same week a year ago. Actual slaughter information come in for the week ending June the 10th. Had your average dressed steer carcass weight at 882 pounds, a new low for this year, and 5 pounds less than the same report a week ago, and that's less tonnage, guys. You know, you would just love to just chain the gates, keep them locked up on the negotiated cattle, and see how long it would take those packers to come to their milk. But we understand that that's a tall order there. But talk about what else is going on. Performance Beef is an app that's as easy to use as your cell phone, helping you simplify feeding, performance, and health records in one place. For more information about this software, go to performancelivestockanalytics.com. Talk about your feeder cattle market on Thursday. Your real-time index late in the afternoon on Thursday, based on an 800-pound steer up through your middle 12 states, a cash auction steer, was actually up 3 cents a hundredweight, so basically steady at 223.13. Not many sales to choose from. I tell you what, they're really winding down here as we're getting closer to the 4th of July holiday, and didn't have a whole lot of big sales to really choose from for Thursday. Joplin Regional Stockyards did have a wean vac special, and you think, gosh, they just had 8,500 or so on Monday. Can't help it, they had another 6,000 on Thursday. They would all been certified wean 45 days or more, all their shots there, and can't really call a trend on those. But your national beef wire stick out sale of the day was Joplin Regional Stockyards, and I just pulled the loads and bigger there. Mostly grazing type cattle there that had been long time weaned. There was good demand for them. 102 steers included in this offering that I showed you. Weighed 592 at 278. Thought that was pretty impressive. 66 lighter steers weighed 462, all weaned and ready to go at 290 out of Joplin. How about this big slug of heifers? 265 heifers weighed 646 and bring 246. Pretty impressive value added sale there at Joplin. And don't forget, this Monday, I mean here in just a few days, they're going to have a huge yearling special. They're going to have maybe 10 or 12,000 yearlings, mostly in big strings, guys. Where else are you going to find them? But be sure and pay attention to Joplin's yearling special coming up this Monday, because you're not going to see that many yearlings offered anywhere else for quite a while. Talk about some individual quotes from all around. How about going east from there, right on I-44 there at Mid-Missouri Stockyards, Phillipsburg, or really Lebanon, Missouri. They're a DV auction broadcaster there, and we do business with them. They do a good job. 117 steers weighed 902 pounds in Lebanon, Missouri at 215.50. Wow. How about Bluegrass Stockyard South in Stanford, Kentucky? And I'm not too far from there. My friend Jay Romine, he called me after my plane got in on Thursday and said, come on down to Stanford. And I would have loved to have, but just didn't have time to get that done. But Jay is a good man. He's a good friend of mine and a hell of a good auctioneer, the main auctioneer for Bluegrass Stockyards. But they sold 70 head in Stanford, Kentucky, weighed 678 steers at 253.70, and they squeeze every drop out of those load lots, guys. How about Brian Curtis telling me about Fairview, Illinois at the Fairview sale barn there. Ray Poston, he might have had the only yearling steers right off grass, so most of the rest of them are all backgrounded, and his yielded the top price. 63 steers weighed 870 at 231.25, and we wish they'd get a whole bunch of rain out there and calm this corn market down quite a bit. But most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday, It's from a market that hasn't been selling a lot of cattle, but winter livestock in southern Kansas, they're already preparing for that big week of the Cattle Marketing Hall of Fame and the King of the Ring auctioneer contest, High Plains video sale. They're going to have all of that the last week in July there. But they had a lighter run in Pratt, but man, did they sell them in Pratt on Thursday at your Macpherson. No BS top quote for the day. 58 steers weighed 918 pounds on the thinner side, bring 233. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.